How are you?
Hey, I'm doing fine. Just staying busy. It's still wave season. I know we talked about what that means, and it is still just busy, busy, busy. How about you?
It's that post cruise, like even though like this was like a working cruise for me and I still
Right.
worked on it, yeah, yesterday felt like a Wednesday or a Thursday, and sadly it's very much not.
Yeah, somebody asked me a question today in texting, implying it wasn't Monday. I was like, no, it is Monday. Yeah, so I totally, it feels later in the week than it is. So, well, it is top of the hour. Let's dig in. Guys, thank you so much for watching us. This is Today in Travel. We are bringing you live news, coverage, commentary on everything in the travel industry. We have some neat topics to discuss today. I'm excited for some of these. So I'm Jason Poole. I'm a travel advisor with Cruise Planners, and joining me, as always, Miss Haley, fresh back from the Caribbean. Say hello to everybody joining us this morning.
I know I can't even say that it's like that Caribbean glow because now that I'm in my 30s, skincare is so important. So I have like the big hats, the long swim
Sunscreen constantly. Yes, absolutely.
but I promise I was in the Caribbean. And for those of you that don't know me, my name is Haley. I own the hotel sales support company with my amazing team at Hospitality with a Flair. And I am a travel blogger, travel writer, whatever you want to call it, all over Europe, the Caribbean, Disney, land trips, cruise trips, you name it. So,
Nice.
yes, back from the
Well,
Caribbean.
so let's dig in, right? So you have done two Princess sailings in recent history. I know you did one when you were back in high school. So two recent sailings. Your first one was last summer in the Mediterranean, and that was on which ship again?
The Enchanted Princess.
The
So, one of
Enchanted
the
Prince.
new
So,
ones.
so one of their newer builds. And so this time you were on an older one. It was the Caribbean Princess. Is that right?
Yes. I want to
Yeah.
say she's about 25 years old, if I remember
Well, if
correctly.
you remember last week, I see Emmy is watching on my Instagram. Emmy went on that ship, I think she said like 20 years ago. So I think I love it. So, a couple questions. The number one complaint I often hear about cruising is the consistency from the new ships and the amenities and the older ships, right? You think about like on a positive one, think about like Celebrity. Every ship has blue. Every ship has a retreat. Every ship has lemonade. You go Royal Caribbean. Not every ship has Coastal Kitchen. Not every ship has the full suite program, right? So, how would you rate the consistency on the Caribbean Princess versus the Enchanted Princess?
So, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was a little nervous going on an older ship because you and I have both been in those situations where, not to pick on Royal Caribbean, but, we've been on Oasis class, all the things. And then we've been on like Jewel of the Seas, which was, for lack of a better word, a dumpster fire overall from consistency to service. I was very impressed with the
Good.
overall soft service consistency. One of the things I talked about last time with Enchanted Princess was like I could not get over how fast room service was.
Wow. Okay.
Same carryover. I think we had one night where it took about an hour, but it was a night where we had rough seas, and I think everybody was kind of like dining in
I mean
situation.
that's somewhat to be expected, right?
But I mean, I even use that. So for those of you that don't know much about Princess, they have their medallions that, in essence, can kind of track you across the ship, and you can order room service to wherever you are on the ship.
I love this idea. I
So
love it. I
like
love it. I love it.
Jeff and I were hanging out at there was two adult only pools, which was fantastic. So we were hanging out at one of them, and I was like, you know what? I'm like a little peckish. Like we had dinner a couple hours. I'm like, I'd love like a Caesar salad right now. And Jeff's like, I could do some chicken tenders with you. Like we ordered that and two cocktails because where we were in like the spa pool area, so there's not necessarily a bar right there. And within 15 minutes, I had
Oh,
two cocktails and the food right there, delivered poolside. Like they set it up. You'll see it in my YouTube videos.
that's
Set it up right there. Like it was mind blowing.
so. So
Like
even the drink package works through the Medallion app.
yes, and that's what's
Yeah.
great. So we had Princess Premiere, and even on our last sea day, we were at the aft pool, which is adults only, and the bar wasn't open up yet. Sometimes the pool bars don't open till about 10ish. And
Okay.
I mean, we had already had breakfast, in the main dining room, and we had gone out just like, oh, I kind of wanted a cocktail. And I was like, I wonder. And I pulled up the app,
That's
grabbed us
amazing.
2 cocktails, and 8 minutes. We
That's
had our drinks in 8 minutes, like brought to us
that's
down at
amazing.
this pool.
I mean, I hate to be contrary, but it's sad that we're excited over this. It's like it's 2024. This shouldn't be that
I
hard to
know it's
order
not, but
drinks.
like overall, like I said, the consistency was great. We did to the specialty restaurants because with Premier you get 2 specialty dining credits,
Right.
but you get unlimited casual dining credits. So kind of like if you cruise Royal Caribbean, your portside barbecue, what's the other one?
Your playmakers.
Playmakers. You get
Yep. Okay.
unlimited of those. But for actual
That's
dinner
amazing.
dinners, you get 2 credits. And the dinner pricing I've gone back is so cheap. Like Crown Grill without a credit is $39 and the Italian place is 35. Both fantastic values. And I mean, Crown Grill was fantastic. Jeff said hands down that's the best like steak he's had on a cruise ship ever across.
I mean, I've heard about this steak now
I know.
at least five
I
times.
know.
I keep hearing about this
Like,
steak.
I
Okay.
mean, because it just like honestly, it was such a good experience. Yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised. Because even like we had an interior room this time, and they have these huge closets in them. Like we had no struggle for space, organization, or even getting around like as to like like plus size people in an interior room. Like it was great. I was very the crew was great. I think the only knocks is like obviously it's an older ship, so there's some parts that have seen better days, like the elevator doors have some nicks in them.
Well, I was
um
about to ask you, name something you've loved, name something you like, name something you hate. So are we going to go with some of the hardware just naturally stated? Is that what you would say?
yeah, I guess like like she needs some touch ups
Sure.
in some areas, but there's honestly I actually kind of liked the layout of this ship better than the Enchanted Princess.
I mean, I've told you the story. I was in Cozumel on Celebrity Edge on the retreat sun deck, looking over at 20-year-old Celebrity Summit, and I was sad I was not on Celebrity Summit. I understand.
I loved the layout and the theming in the bars. It's kind of like old classic cruising, which I do like, and I have that appeal too. But it was just, I mean, the entertainment was great. They had, I guess I didn't take time to realize any of this on Enchanted because it was so port heavy. But they have a collaboration with The Voice, and they do that like contest. It's called like Voice of the Ocean. Like they have the chairs that
Oh,
spin
right.
around, like so neat, so cute. Oh, and what was the other thing that was included with Medallion? I was going to tell you. It'll come back to me at some point.
Okay, so something you love, something you like, something you hated.
Uh,
Maybe.
I really loved honestly the layout of the ship. I loved that there were 2 adult only. Like the casual dining on the pool deck was done so well. So on the pool deck, you know how normally you have a place that does like burgers and fries, and whatnot. So they have Slice, which does pizza, and it's second best to MSC. It's actually really, really good
Okay.
pizza. And then there's Salty Dog, which used to be kind of a casual specialty, but now they've converted that to being included.
Okay.
And what's nice with Salty Dog is they're on 2 separate sides. You go up and you order, and they give you like a beeper, so there's not that mass like crowding
Nice.
around it, which is wonderful. And I think because there were so many pools, because there were 4 technically on this size ship, which I thought was actually quite a bit. You have the 2 middle ones. It never felt like super, super crowded. Like we never struggled getting a seat place in different places. The activities were great. So many activities. Like probably that's the most amount of free activities that I've seen on a ship in a long time. Like they had a bunch of different craft, not just like napkin folding classes. Like they had quilling class. Like it's hard to say. There weren't many dislikes other than I think like I said, the rooms are warmer than a newer ship because
But that
it is.
warm look is actually kind of coming back, and styles change,
Oh,
right? I mean,
I was talking about temperature.
oh, God. And insert a Ken Jarvis, my travel agent is. So, anyways, continue.
No, I thought the rooms were a little warm. That was something that I maybe wasn't the biggest fan of. I do think like Celebrity actually probably has a better buffet selection.
Their
I
buffet's hard
I,
to beat.
I took some notes here because
Theirs is hard. The
I
only buffet I think better than Celebrity was Explorer Journeys, but theirs was it's a different beast.
oh 100%. But another kickback, and I said this with Enchanted, the beds are so comfortable, even on this old ship. I think the only line that I've been on that has a better mattress and not by much is Disney.
Okay.
Like both Princess sailings have had extremely comfortable beds. And again, not to pick on Royal Caribbean, but I've been on some Royal Caribbean beds where my back is screaming in the morning.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
This is so comfortable.
So guys, well, the thing I love about our channel, our community here is we see all sorts of brands. I mean, Haley's done MSC. She's really digging into Princess. We did a group cruise on Celebrity. You know, I've brought you a couple different brands, some new ones still coming later this year. So I just love that we can just share a variety of different products and perspectives.
Absolutely. And speaking of new products that you're going to be trying,
Oh yeah, so I mean we'll talk about it more next week because it's in a week and a half. I am going to be doing Viking Ocean in like a week and a half. So we'll talk about that more next week. But I am excited to try Viking Ocean. Viking is setting to go public to become a publicly traded company, and you know, my first thought was I never thought I would see the day. But then I kind of thought about it. If you guys don't know, river cruising is actually kind of a fairly new product. Viking is only been around 25-ish years.
that's
And
so
like
crazy to think of.
like they started it. And then like the founders of Alma Waterways helped found Viking. He left Viking, heard Alma Waterways. Like so I mean the river cruising product is actually a very young product. So I guess it makes sense. The owner's getting in his 80s, thinking it's time to retire. But I am anxious to have a look at their numbers because look, Viking does have debt. They have
A lot of that.
a lot of debt. They're building ships very quickly. But if you guys don't know, Viking, like 2024, Viking is almost sold out. 2025 is getting hard to find space. Like when clients call me, they're like, I want to do a Viking cruise this summer. I mean, I might find one piece here or there from cancellations, but
It
like,
is, and I can tell you when I've looked for myself.
yeah,
And what's funny is you and I've talked about the river cruising piece too. They're technically more of the, I don't want to say entry level, but they're more a la carte.
yeah,
Like, Alma Waterways, World, they include more things
yes.
in there. But when you think river cruising, I guarantee you 9 out of 10 people are going to say, oh, Viking,
But no, yeah,
just because of the way they position themselves marketing wise.
Viking is a machine. I push back a little bit about Alma and Viking, including more. They both include excursions, and it's about the same. But
But
yeah,
you know what I mean? There's a little bit more each level you go
there
into,
is.
and it's great because not everybody wants all
Right,
the things.
right.
Especially if you're a DIYer, Viking's a really great
It is.
option.
And Viking excels at you don't have to think. Like they're introducing this new program in Europe where when you land, they have permission now to be at the gate when you land to help you get from the gate to passport control, get your luggage, go through customs, get you on the transfers. Now, Haley, you and I may not need that, but let's say your father was going to Europe for the first time without you. I would tell you your father is in good hands with Viking. Like they will be there
100%. I mean, you and I can say when we've landed in Europe, you see those reps. They are right there ready to
everywhere.
do
They
everything.
are. I mean, they are there. So I'm anxious for them to go public. Just kind of the nerd in me wants to dig in and be like, are they profitable? Like how? But they are. I mean, and their final payments are a year out.
That's so
Sometimes it's
crazy.
more than a year, sometimes it's less than a year, depending on the promo. But roughly, it's a year out. And guess what? People do it. People do it. And if you don't, someone is right there behind you waiting to do it. I mean, Viking sells itself. I mean, when I did my Alma Waterways cruise in November, every ramp that Alma used at every port stamped in Viking. Like I had to work on pictures to post for Alma without the ramp having Viking on it. I mean, they are a machine. Okay, a machine. And I was actually looking at some of their expedition ships in Antarctica. They're only like 2 years old. They look sexy. They
Ooh,
look like
I didn't
flora.
realize they were down there.
Yeah, their new expedition ships look. Oh my,
Hmm.
they look like big floras, and they're sec. I mean, I, I'm anxious for them to go public. We'll talk a little bit more about public, how that can benefit you a little later in the travel tip
Ooh, great
of the day.
segue. But keeping it in cruise world.
Cruise roll. So, Virgin Voyages came out right off the bat and just said high speed Wi Fi is free. The free one is kind of basic, which some people, it's fine for them. It's free. It's all included, unlimited devices, it's free.
For people like Jason and I.
Right. You can, but and Haley, the upgrade is nominal. Like it's a very small feed upgrade. Well, Virgin has now said, "Hey, Starlink isn't good enough. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep pushing." They're incorporating. I don't really know what this means. SES Cruise Empowered. They're doing that with Starlink. They say they're the first. When I was on Explorer Journeys kind of had a dual network going as well. They had Starlink plus something else. I imagine this is very similar to Virgin. So the satellites on the ship just do a hot swap back and forth constantly on which one is going to be faster. And I think it makes sense with the clientele, the age group, the demographic of who Virgin is trying to attract.
100%. Internet is so important. And that's kind of like, my other plus with Princesses with Premier, you get 4 Wi Fi devices per person. And even on that old ship, I was able to do a Teams call. I did a bunch of Wi Fi calling. Like I said, I was still working um, with really zero issue for the most part. It's just it's 2024. It's time to have some good internet,
I
and
just
actually committing to it being included is incredible.
I know, with the pandemic being over, people are returning to the office. There's still a lot of people who work from home. There's people like you and I who can work anywhere. Ship internet is still important for a lot of people. So I think that is just a kudos for Virgin. Hopefully they set push the industry to keep getting
Yeah,
faster and faster and faster internet.
absolutely, I agree. So let's flip over to out of cruise world and talk about baggage fees.
So in the last week or two, we have heard from almost everybody but Delta. I'm shocked Delta hasn't done this. Alaskan, American, JetBlue, United, they've all announced increased checked baggage fees. Now, if you have a credit card, it doesn't matter. If you have status, it doesn't
That's
matter. Like hey, you don't pay for baggage, I don't pay for baggage. Status, credit cards, we don't pay for baggage. Um, Again, I'm shocked Delta hasn't done it yet. Give it time. I'm sure they will. So some of these have gone up to, like Americans, gone up to $40 for a checked bag. You can do it online in advance and pay for it in advance, and it's $35. Second bags, 45. I mean, it's getting kind of expensive for these bags, and you know how I feel about people who bring on their rollerboards on the plane as carry-on. It triggers me. Um,
Well, especially when it's not the right size. Like you've seen my little guy now, like, and it's
yep,
slick. It fits on a CRJ without having to push.
that's
Like it
fair.
just slides right in, it pops right in. Because case in point, when I was flying down to my Princess cruise, I got stuck in Atlanta, and there was actually a potential issue with my baggage not even getting to Fort Lauderdale, even flying down ahead of time. Like there was a whole thing. And let me tell you, as a plus size lady, having two outfits, my swimsuit, in a roller with me at all times, uh,
Oh,
like that. But that's something kind of like fearful, because even with us getting in the next morning, even if I wasn't that, like being able to run to a Target, something like that,
right,
to have clothes.
right.
But no, I know what you mean. Like it's those big, huge things, and then they've got the big shopping
But you know,
bag,
so in some ways,
tote purse.
I blame the check-in agent. They should be able to spot that and be like, "Hey, I don't think that's going to fit." I blame the gate agents who should be like, "No, like we are pink tagging that."
Oh, that happened on my last flight because there were a bunch of those. Like the gate agent just let it go by, and like you could see the flight attendants are so frustrated. I'm like, they shouldn't have been able to board. Like, 'cause it was a CRJ. Like they should have been able to board
They should not.
with that bag. But occasionally, I will get that gate agent that's just like not here to play.
No,
It's usually in LaGuardia, not here to play.
it's
Um,
that. It's,
and they
yeah.
change it up. But no, I kind of hate the increases. I mean, I understand it. They're always going to get money where they can, but that slows down the boarding process.
So I will say, plug to Southwest. Everyone gets two free bags, right? But Southwest has the fastest turnaround of flipping planes. And I mean, if wishes were horses, I would charge people for the overhead space and make people pay for checked bag. I mean, if checked bags be free, you have to pay for overhead space.
Well, I know, I swear that's why I joke about Delta being the most online the thing. That's because they overshoot by 40 minutes to accommodate for all these people trying to heave these monsters into
I
I
mean,
actually saw a meme that was really funny. Is you can tell a lot by what kind of person somebody is if they put their personal item below the seat on an airplane and not up in the above.
I usually have like a duffel, a big bag. Anyway, I just put it up top. But personal item definitely goes down below. So, keeping in airline news, I thought this was cool only from a personal connection. So, Delta had a flight that left from Austin, Texas to Detroit, Michigan for the Eclipse coming this year. And Haley, what day is the Eclipse?
April 8th,
Which is,
just another day.
oh, it's my birthday.
No, I'm being facetious.
Yeah, it's my birthday. So I think it's cool. The eclipse is on my birthday. I don't think we're gonna see it in totality.
So where I live is a totality.
Okay,
Like,
that's cool.
but I won't be here. I'll be flying back from Paris, so maybe I'll hit it as I'm
Yeah, it's funny.
from
I'm not
Paris.
gonna lie. I saw this. The flight sold out 24 hours. They added a second one. I thought about taking a peek at it, but I have to Austin, Texas. I'd probably have to go Nashville, Atlanta, Austin. Like, I would have to piece it together. But I think it's cool if you live in Texas area and can hop on a plane out of Austin. They're adding another flight. The whole flight, they're going to try to keep it in totality the whole time. So
And you wonder how that looks from the air, right?
it looks like dark. I mean, I remember the last time we got a eclipse, and for like 2 minutes, it looked like it was midnight outside.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. Like car lights were turning on. It looked like midnight. So,
Well, I'm
well,
wondering, because if you think about where I'm flying, like Toronto is just across the lake from me. Technically speaking, like if you look at where I live, like when you go up to Lake Ontario, it's like
right.
like it's only 2.5 hours. So I'm wondering, as we're flying, based on that trajectory and where we're coming from,
You might,
if
you might be able to.
I'm kind
Yeah.
of intrigued. I'm
Okay.
curious.
All right. Well, and then for our tip of the day, Haley, you had a great idea for a tip. Some of our viewers have already done this with other lines. Tell me about what you did.
So, my husband's been itching to buy some stock, and he read up that if you own 100 shares of Carnival Corp stock, you get $100 OBC. So now, anytime we sell Princess, we're getting an extra 100 OBC. The stock wasn't terrible, but if you cruise a good amount, I know Royal Caribbean has something similar, and especially with Viking opening up, I'm curious to see if there's anything coming with that. I think that's a nice little extra way to just add a
Yeah,
little.
and that Carnival stock you bought, it'll work on Holland, Princess,
Yeah.
Cunard, Seabourn, just like the Royal Caribbean stock works on Royal Caribbean Celebrity, Silver Sea.
So if you are wanting to invest in what you believe, it's
Yep.
definitely an option to check out.
Awesome. Well,
I
guys, thank you so
we have
much.
to
Next
tag
week we'll be back.
because somebody
Huh?
asked. Somebody asked a little question here talking about my hair. So the reason that my hair looks nice today, and this is another cruise thing, is I always get a blowout, and I actually did keratin treatment my last day, so it's like very smoothed out. So that is another treat and a tip that you can look for if you are looking for a nice hair treatment to come back from vacation. This is supposed to last almost 6 weeks, so we'll see.
Well, I can't. No comments.
Jason, you have nothing to offer on this topic.
No, I have nothing to offer. Nothing to offer. Guys, thank you so much. Next week, I will be at the airport. We might do it a little early next week. We'll see, but we'll try to get you. I might be walking through the airport on my phone, but we'll be back next week. And guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you
All
soon.
right, bye guys.
Bye.